and my friends joined a Pokemon Draft League. Every week we will face a new coach to determine who becomes the champion of the season. Will we make it to the top of the standings? What is going on today, and welcome to the BBR 2023 Summer Scramble. This week the Opelucid Roaring Moons are facing off against the Minnesota Boombursters. They have a very scary Hail team with Ninetales, Alola, Baxcalibur, Slowking, Revavroom, Satitan, which is their Terra captain, Donphan, Delphox, and Electros. Now, we are going to have to put a lot of work into this game because this Baxcalibur and Terra Satitan are scary, especially with free Terra behind Aurora Veil, and with the Snow boost, it is insane. Let's look at the team that's going to try to win this. First, we are bringing Sneasler, and we are actually holding the Grassy Seed this week with the Unburden ability. Sneasler has a fantastic matchup into this team because it can outspeed everything once we get the Grassy Seed procced and get the Unburden boost. We have Swords Dance, Poison Jab, Close Combat, and Terra Blast because we are Terra Water for the Donphan. I thought about going Terra Grass for the Donphan plus the Slowking, but once I looked at Slowking calcs, when we're at +2, it doesn't even matter. And then we resist Ice Shard when we go Terra Water, so that is the reason for that. We're just making sure that we outspeed the entire team, even if we don't get the Unburden boost, bar Satitan and Hail, and we just have the rest in attack, and whatever is left over is dumped into HP. Next is Rillaboom, carrying the Life Orb and the Grassy Surge, obviously to pair with our Grassy Seed. We have Grassy Glide, Wood Hammer, Knockoff, and U-Turn. We are just running Adamant with enough speed to outspeed Adamant Satitan. We have Wood Hammer just because if we come in on something slow like Slowking or Donphan, we can just hit Wood Hammer and it deals massive damage to whatever comes in. We have Grassy Glide for the priority in case the Satitan comes in and it gets the Belly Drum off and we need to get a Grassy Glide off to kill it. Or we have Knockoff just for the utility of Knockoff because it's a great move. And obviously U-Turn to try to get our Sneasler in on the field or just pivot around because we can do that with this team. This team's a pretty good pivot team. So that's just the reason that we're carrying that, because we don't really need any other moves on this Rillaboom. It's pretty much just an enabler for Sneasler in this game. Next is Manaphy with the Mental Herb and Hydration. We have Tail Glow, Surf, Energy Ball, and Dazzling Gleam. We're actually running a weirder mixed set. We have 196 HP, 136 special attack, and 176 speed. We're timid. That makes sure that we are outspeeding the Baxcalibur. The 136 special attack means that when we're at +3 after a Tail Glow, we always kill the Baxcalibur with Dazzling Gleam, and then the rest is dumped into HP. We are Mental Herb because I think one of the ways that they can actually counter this Manaphy is by running Encore Ninetales. So we are just running Mental Herb. That way, if we do Tail Glow and they switch in and want to Encore us into Tail Glow, we can always break free of that and just Surf and kill it. Next is Bronzong. We're carrying Leftovers with Levitate this week. We have Stealth Rock, Grass Knot for the Donphan, Flash Cannon, because I'm afraid that the Satitan is going to be Terra Ghost. I thought about Terra Fire and things like that, but it seems like Terra Ghost will make the most sense because it would also bypass Body Press. So we're running Flash Cannon over Body Press to make sure that we can still hit that. Plus we still hit the Baxcalibur and the Ninetales and everything for super effective damage. And then we have Rain Dance just in case it gets out of hand and I really need to get rid of the snow. We can just run Rain Dance and actually even give Manaphy a hydration buff and a surf buff if we want to. And like I said, just to get rid of the snow. We are mostly defensive because this is our Baxcalibur answer. It's a pretty hard Baxcalibur answer. It's not a hard Satitan answer because Satitan can Terra into something that can hit us super effectively. But if they don't bring the Satitan, or if they tell me a Terra type that is not good against Bronzong, we will also use this as a Satitan answer. But if Satitan comes, we're going to be trying to play pretty aggressively against it and not even really let it on the field that much. Next is the Komala. We have the Assault Vest with Comatose. We have Rabbit Spin, Brick Break, Sucker Punch, and U-Turn. Again, the set's pretty weird. We're 252 HP, 252 defense, but we're a boosting nature in special defense. It turns out that whatever spread I was running before was actually more optimal to just go ahead and run the boosting nature in special defense and just max out my defensive stat because I still hit the number that I needed to in the defensive stat, and it gave me more of a boost in my SpinF stat, so it's overall just better. We have Brick Break. This thing's a pretty hard Ninetales switch in because they can't Hypnosis us. If they Aurora Veil, we can always Brick Break, and they don't do a lot of damage to us because Kamala is pretty specially defensive, especially with the Assault Vest, and Ninetales is pretty weak. So we can come in on the Ninetales. If they want to hit us, we just U-turn out. If they want to set Aurora Veil, we just Brick Break. We just play the game depending on what the Ninetales does to this Kamala. I'm going to try to get the Bronzong in on the Ninetales early to get rocks up, but after that, Komala is pretty much going to be the switch into Ninetales almost every single time. Lastly is the Enamorus with the Custap Berry and the Contrary ability, brings Superpower, Earth Power, Play Rough, and Endure. We're actually 204 attack, 64 special attack, and then 240 speed. We're boosting speed and we are down in Spadef. We are doing that because of the Revavroom. We have 64 special attack EVs with Earth Power. That makes sure that we always OHKO a max HP Revavroom because Revavroom can give us a problem. The rest of the set is physical because I think Superpower plus Play Rough does really good against the team, especially if we're getting those defensive buffs from Superpower. Or Custap Berry with Endure because that helps us with any kind of D-Dance Excalibur or Scale Shot Excalibur that has gotten the speed boost. It helps us deal with the Ninetales, and it helps us deal with a Titan in Hail if they feel safe enough to not go for Ice Shard, because I don't think that speed boosting Excalibur is going to carry Ice Shard, so we can always Endure, proc the Custap Berry, and then Play Rough will go first. The Titan might carry Ice Shard, even though it will be faster than everything inside Hail, because Belly Drum Ice Shard is still scary. And if that does happen, then that'll just be a little bit tough for us. But other than that, this is mainly a Excalibur stopper because that thing is scary. Now, if it's SD Excalibur with Ice Shard, we'll have to play around in a different way, probably with Bronzong. But speed boosting, we don't have a lot of really good ways to play around it, and Enamorus with this set can do that, so this is the only reason we're bringing it. And that's the team. It's pretty quick. The matchup is pretty straightforward. The only problem is that weather in this gen is still super scary, so even though it's straightforward, that doesn't mean it's easy at all, because it's not. But I'm hoping that with Sneasler and with Manaphy, we are able to pull this out. So would you have done anything differently? If you would have, let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, like and subscribe. I am getting close to a goal that I've set for myself, which is 350 subscribers. So if you're down there and you've been watching the videos, click subscribe for me. It'll make me feel a little bit better and make my day a little bit better. So let's head right on into the battle. All right, so I am a little tiny bit dumb and bad at YouTubing, so I forgot to click record at the beginning of the game, but not a ton has happened. We led with Rillaboom and they led Ninetales. We swapped right into our Komala to get the Brick Break off, which we did as they set the Aurora Veil and switched into Excalibur. So Excalibur is a little bit chipped right now. And the Slowking came out and we did some switching around just because I wanted to get Rillaboom on the field safely without having to take a Scald. They revealed that they are Spadef Slowking because we Grass Knotted it with Bronzong. And they revealed Scald and Future Sight. So those are the two things that we know for sure that they have. And I wanted to make sure that my Rillaboom was not taking a Scald from it. So Rillaboom came out on the field eventually against the Slowking and threatened the Grassy Glide, but Knockoff was just the safest play I could make, and the Delphox ended up taking the knockoff. Our opponent brought the Ninetales, Excalibur, Delphox, Donphan, Slowking, and Electros was their last Pokemon. So they didn't bring this to Titan, which is huge for us. But you're caught up in the game. This is the turn where Rillaboom killed the Delphox and enjoy the rest of the battle. Alright, so we have the Rillaboom on the field at this point. We see they bring out the Ninetales, and I've got a couple things going through my head. If this Ninetales wants to click Aurora Veil, I can click U-turn, go into my Komala, and Brick Break just like I have been doing. If it wants to kill me, I can go straight into my Sneasler because this is my setup opportunity, and then there will be no Aurora Veil, and then they decide to Blizzard, which is completely fine by me, because now we have confirmed a couple things. We have confirmed Spadef Slowking, which means that a +2 Sneasler OHKOs it, and we are not worried about Donphan because we can always just Terra and the Grassy Terrain's up, so EQ is going to be a little bit weaker. So we go into the Sneasler, and now, again, I'm thinking about a couple things. They can either set up Aurora Veil, and I'm going to Swords Dance, and if they set up Aurora Veil, I will just Swords Dance again, because we don't die to any one move. If they do not Aurora Veil and they hit me, that's fine. We only need to be +2. So we get the Swords Dance off, and we are going to see that they go for the Freeze Dry. Now, I'm not going to Terra here because I don't want them to Freeze Dry into my Water type, because they know I have to tell them my Terra type before. So we get the Swords Dance off, and they go for the Freeze Dry, and they freeze our Sneasler. And this sucks for me, right? Like, we need to unfreeze right here because this is about to turn what is supposed to be a 5-0 game into a potential loss, because not only are we risking the Sneasler, but we also gave up the Rillaboom for this, and of course we don't thaw. And I could have Terrestrialized there to try to eat the Blizzard, but I really just figured they would go for Freeze Dry again, because why wouldn't they? But man, that is a stake right in the heart, dude. Like, that was supposed to be the end of the game. I will throw up some calcs on screen. We killed everything with that Sneasler. That Sneasler literally just won. But we got to bring this back. Like, the game is not over. We still have our Manaphy. We still have another win con. We got to bring this back. So going to Bronzong, and I'm expecting the Slow King, and that's a setup target for Manaphy. So I tried to hard into Manaphy. They stayed in and went for the Aurora Veil, and I don't want to eat a Freeze Dry right now. So I am going to switch into the Kamala, which should eat the Freeze Dry. And I think we even live a Blizzard here if they were to go for a Blizzard, but they go for the Moonblast. They don't kill. Blizzard actually would have probably killed us, but they didn't want to miss because Snow is gone. And we get rid of the Aurora Veil. So main problem with the team at this point is we got to make sure that Baxcalibur does not get behind an Aurora Veil, because the Manaphy will not kill it anymore after that. And we need to make sure that we are keeping our rocks up as well as we can. They go for the Moonblast again. We go right into the Bronzong. We get a special attack drop, which is not amazing for us. But again, Bronzong's not doing a ton of damage, so it's not the end of the world. And I'm going to make the same double because I think they're going Slow King. And this time they finally do go Slow King. So we get to go Manaphy and set up our Tail Glows here on the Slow King. So I'm going to Tail Glow. They're going to switch right back out into the Electros. And this thing eats hits pretty well from us. And I really don't want to take a discharge. I didn't really do any Electros calcs before trying to set this thing up. Figured that their switch in would be a little bit more aggressive with the Ninetales than with the Electros. So I'm calcing right now, and I'm willing to take a Thunderbolt, but I don't want to risk the discharge para. And they actually just go for the Dragon Tail. I decided to take that risk and see if they were discharge or Thunderbolt, but they just go for Dragon Tail and bring out the Kamala, which isn't bad for us because Kamala is actually going to outspeed this thing, because I think we've got a bit of speed in this Kamala. And I'm just going to go for the U-turn because I want Chip. I want Chip on this thing pretty badly for Manaphy later on. And we are going to switch in our Bronzong here because I don't want to let Enamorus take a discharge or a Volt Switch or a Steep Bolt at all, because Enamorus is still pretty good too. And they do go for the Volt Switch. So then they go right into their Donphan and they reveal Leftovers. This isn't horrible for us. We can go for the Grass Knot if we want to, but I think this is my opportunity to go into the Enamorus and try to break through maybe Slow King, or maybe even just get set up. But they do knock off, which is not great because that Custat Barrier was how we were going to trade for either the Ninetales or the Baxcalibur. But it's still not the end of the world. We can go for a Superpower here and eat an Ice Spinner if that's what they go for. But they are going to go for the Rapid Spin. We still live the Ice Spinner after this, so I have no problem just going for Play Rough right now. And as we go for the Play Rough, they switch into Slow King, and I don't want to kill this. I think if I kill this Slow King, the game is over because I don't have anything to set up the Manaphy on anymore. So we really need Manaphy to get set up on the Slow King. So we need to make sure we don't kill the Slow King at whatever cost, because it can't really touch Manaphy at all. It can Future Sight, but that's about it. And they haven't Chilly Receptioned all game, so I'm guessing that they don't have Chilly Reception at all. So we both make a double. They make a pretty good double into the Electros, and because the rocks are gone, Manaphy is just outside of range of killing this, and this is something I'm still getting used to on Wi-Fi, not being able to see HP by clicking the plus button and looking at your opponent's team. That is really hard for me because on Showdown I'm so used to being able to just hover over a Pokemon and see what HP it's on, even if it's in the party. So I'm still getting used to that, and it's cost me a couple turns in a few games that I've played, and it was just out of range. I thought it was a little bit lower, but it wasn't. So it was just out of range. So I needed to switch back into Bronzong, and I've got to figure out how to get some chip on this Electros. But the problem is that they're getting Leftovers recovery the more that I switch around and everything. So I'm trying to figure out a way to get something on the field to force chip on it. And I decided it's probably just best to let Bronzong go down, because at this point I need Manaphy to get set up, and it can beat the Ninetales and the Baxcalibur if I do that. So I just get Rocks up, because that also really helps with Baxcalibur calcs. If I get Rocks up and they're not defensive Baxcalibur, I don't even need a Tail Glow to kill with Dazzling Gleam, and the rocks help tilt Slowking Energy Ball calcs into our favor a little bit more. So I decided to sack off the Enamorus because Bronzong's got its rocks up and it can still help check the Baxcalibur a little bit. And then I go into the Kamala because this is how I'm going to force chip on the team. If they go Slowking here, I always get to U-turn out. So I'm just going to hit something. If they want to go Baxcalibur, I've got the Brick Break ready, and they're going to take rocks damage. So I figured the best course of action is for them to just let the Electros take some damage. But they're actually going to switch out and go into the Slowking. So I'm a little bit upset that I did not click U-turn there. But I'm going to get to click U-turn on this turn and go right into my Manaphy. And because I don't think they have Chilly Reception, that means we'll get switch priority. So we don't kill, which is perfect for us. And we get the Manaphy in on the Slowking. And we know that they're not switching out because they don't have Chilly Reception. And they go for the Future Sight. Now, this Manaphy is perfectly EV'd for this situation. If we take a Future Sight plus a Freeze Dry, we do not die. Unless we get crit by 1, we don't die. So this is our opportunity to just set up the Tail Glow. If they were to stay in, I would have just clicked a move and killed whatever switched in or killed the Slowking at that point. And they switch in the Ninetales, and like I said, we're going to get hit by the Future Sight. We're going to get hit by a Freeze Dry. As long as we don't get frozen or crit on either one of those things, we are good to go because we can just surf here. And if they want to set Aurora Veil, I will just surf again and then set up on whatever comes in. But they go for the Freeze Dry, we don't get crit. By the Freeze Dry or Frozen, we take the Future Sight, we don't get crit, and we live on 13. We're on like 3% right now, maybe even less. So this is a really, really good situation for us. The only thing at this point that could take a hit is a Slowking that can regen out. Because if Slowking comes in at the HP it's going to come in at, switches out to sack something off, and comes back in, it is out of Energy Ball range from that point forward, and that's going to be a tough decision for us to make. So they bring in the Slowking, and I'm thinking about all of this at the time of the game, right? And the Slowking comes out, and I'm thinking, if they switch out and I click Energy Ball here, I lose because I do not have a single thing that beats this Slowking in the back of my team. The last 2 Pokemon on my team are Bronzong and I don't even remember what else it is. Kamala. The last 2 things on my team are Bronzong and Kamala, and neither one of those 2 things beat Slowking at full health. So if they switch out and they regen out of E-Ball range, we lose. If they switch out and I Tail Glow to get to +6, we always kill it and we win. If they stay in and I Tail Glow and they kill me, they win. If they stay in and I Energy Ball and I kill them, I win. So this is a true just 50-50 play, and I end up getting it wrong. My opponent stays in on the Manaphy that could have just killed it and wiped the rest of the team, and scalds us, and we die. And we don't have anything that beats the team. The Slowking can always switch out and regen out of range of our Bronzong, out of range of our Kamala or anything, and it just cleans up the game. And I'm a little disappointed because I clawed my way back into this game after getting super haxed out on my Sneasler, because, like I said, that Sneasler won the game. I confirmed a couple things with him afterwards, especially because, like, we saw the Donphan was leftovers. We saw that the Slowking was Spit F Slowking. I did the Electros calcs. Sneasler wiped the entire team from that point forward if it did not get frozen, because we were Terra Water Blast for the Donphan. The Poison Jab killed the Slowking, and the Close Combat would have killed the Electros, and they were not Ice Shard Baxcalibur because they were, speed boosting Baxcalibur, so there was no reason for them to be Ice Shard. So that's tough. That's really, really, really tough for us, and I think I played very well to bring myself back into the game, and I made one, not even misplay. I think it was still a true 50-50 on that Slowking, but I think I'm realizing that I'm so used to playing with people that are in my own community that I've been playing with for 3.5 years at this point. I know how those people play, and I don't know how all these people that I'm facing on Wi-Fi play. I think a good skill that I had in VGC was being able to properly estimate my opponent and what plays I thought they would make based off of how skillful in the game that I thought they were, especially in tournaments, because you have to. All you're doing is facing new people. Now in VGC it's a little bit different, and even in like OU tours and stuff like that, like Smogon tours, it's a little bit different because you're doing a best of 3. You can kind of fill your opponent out the first game, and the last 2 games, if you do lose, you can make those adjustments and figure out what you did wrong, which I think I'm very good at. The problem is I can't do that in draft games because you get it's a one and done thing. So I need to figure out how to figure out my opponent's skill level in the game, and I think that's where I'm going wrong, because I'm not trying to figure out how my opponent plays. And I think that's a big skill to have, especially on Wi-Fi, because another thing I've noticed is a lot of Wi-Fi players don't calc that much. It doesn't feel like I'm pretty much calcing every 3-ish plays, especially big plays, like the Manaphy versus Slowking play. I calced to see, you know, if Manaphy killed or if Manaphy did not kill, and what I thought my opponent's best course of action was with that given information. I have no idea if my opponent calced that. I don't know if this specific opponent calced, but I do know that a lot of people I've been facing in Wi-Fi don't, and they kind of just go off of pre-game calcs that they've seen and just the feel of the game. Which, is it wrong? No. Is it right? No. I don't think one way is wrong or right, but I do think that I need to get into a mindset of figuring out if my opponent is playing with the full information or if they were playing with pre-game information, because I know a lot of people feel pressured under the Wi-Fi timer. They feel like they can't calc, and I completely understand that if you write down calcs before the game or whatever, but I got to figure it out, and that's something I'm going to be working on. Even outside of me getting hacked, I think that is somewhere that I went wrong in this game, and that's where I've been going wrong in a lot of my games on Wi-Fi. Now, we have had a pretty unlucky couple of games in the past 2 weeks for me. Not on YouTube yet, just keep an eye out. I think this is going up Saturday. I've got PDD's second to last week going up this Monday, and then I had a new draft breakdown actually just go up yesterday, so go check that out. That'll be at the end of the video, but I'm just rambling on at this point, talking through my thoughts, because I want to put it out there for people that are watching to just know that I'm thinking about what I'm doing wrong, and I'm trying to figure it out, because we should not be losing as much as we're losing. We just are, and that's just the problem that we're facing right now. But we will bounce back. We have 2 more games in pools, another Hail team, and then another just regular draft team. And I think we've got pretty good matchups. So the pressure's on. We got to win both of them, but we can do it. So that's where I'm going to leave you. If you like what you saw, like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya.